Hello, everyone. Let me start with what's happening right here in America, because this is where the real action is unfolding. The Trump administration has just liberated the people of Washington, D.C., giving them back their safety and the chance to live normal lives again. If you're new here, I'm Andrew Meet Rich. I used to work inside a state-run media outlet, saw how stories were twisted to fit the narrative, and I walked away. Now I'm independent. I speak freely, and I tell you what really matters. Stephen Miller, one of Trump's key people, just announced that residents can now visit their favorite restaurants, bars, pool halls, and parks without fearing for their safety. They're so happy now that they can simply go out and live their lives. According to Miller, people in Washington were living in fear before, but the mainstream media, almost all controlled by Democrats, deliberately stayed silent about this fear. Now mothers are taking their children to parks they hadn't visited in years because they know police are there. They know President Trump and his law enforcement officers are protecting them. But here's what the media won't tell you. This was the reality all along, and it took Trump to bring it to light. If you're finding value in this independent perspective, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started with today's shocking developments. Stephen Miller, one of Trump's key advisors, just made a dramatic announcement claiming that residents can now visit their favorite restaurants, bars, pool halls, and parks without fearing for their safety. According to Miller's version of events, people in Washington were supposedly living in fear before, but the mainstream media, which he claims is controlled by Democrats, deliberately stayed silent about this alleged fear. He's painting a picture where mothers are now taking their children to parks they hadn't visited in years because they know police are there. Now, I want you to think critically about this narrative. Was Washington, D.C. really the war zone Miller describes? Were families genuinely too terrified to visit parks? Or is this political messaging designed to create a before and after story that makes the current administration look like saviors? The timing of these statements, the dramatic language, the complete transformation narrative, it all feels very calculated. But here's what the media won't discuss openly: the power of perception versus reality in political messaging. If you're finding value in this independent perspective, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started with today's shocking developments. Now, while America is securing its own streets, Trump is turning his attention to Europe, and let me tell you, European Union leadership did not expect this development. The Trump administration is now actively considering sanctions against European Union officials or member countries responsible for implementing the Digital Services Act. The State Department hasn't made final decisions about specific punitive measures yet, but there's a strong probability they'll come in the form of visa restrictions. High-ranking American officials have already held internal meetings on this topic. The US has made it clear nobody is playing games here. Washington states that the European Union is imposing unjustified restrictions on freedom of expression as part of their efforts to combat hate and disinformation. The Digital Services Act further strengthens these restrictions on freedom of expression. The Trump administration has also instructed American diplomats in Europe to begin a lobbying campaign to oppose the Digital Services Act with the goal of changing or repealing it. EU leadership claims the Digital Services Act aims to improve online safety, particularly by forcing tech giants to more actively combat illegal content, including hate speech and inappropriate materials. But watch how these events unfold. Tension is rising, the intrigue continues. Speaking of Europe's power plays, the European Central Bank is preparing to launch a digital euro, which, according to internal documents that have leaked to the media, will be able to process over 50 billion transactions per year from the very beginning. That's almost one-third of all payment card transactions in the European zone. This could significantly reduce revenues for international service providers like Visa and MasterCard. The European Central Bank believes the digital currency will help Europe strengthen strategic autonomy and reduce dependence on American payment infrastructure. Massive changes in this direction are rapidly approaching. Naturally, this will also be a method of enhanced control over finances and so on. But here's where Europe's grand plans meet harsh reality. In the beautiful Swiss city of Lausanne, massive riots broke out late yesterday evening. About 200 young people, mostly non-locals, clashed with police. I won't list their actions. They were naturally all unacceptable. No one expected such chaos in Switzerland. No one was prepared for this. The situation escalated after a young man lost his life on Sunday evening. He stole a scooter, tried to escape from police, hit a speed bump, what people call a sleeping policeman, then crashed into a wall. Police were following him at a distance of more than 100 meters, but this incident triggered massive riots in Switzerland. The dispersal operation using all methods continued for several hours. This is how everything is changing, even previously peaceful Switzerland. And directly related to this theme, there's a new report from Germany, from Dresden. Investigation continues into a high-profile incident on a tram where an American tourist was seriously injured after standing up for a woman when two men were harassing her. They used a stabbing weapon against him. He was rushed to the hospital. One suspect named Maida was detained, then released. The second one, who used the knife, is on the run. Now the US has made demands, including to German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Richard Grenell, a trusted associate of President Trump, called on Germany's Chancellor to restore order in the country urgently, because residents in Germany are tired of this weak and immature reaction from German authorities. The US also called on German authorities to apply the full force of law to punish the guilty. Analysis of surveillance camera footage showed that the one they released also used force in his own way. This provided grounds for his rearrest. Meanwhile, the main suspect, who had the knife, is still free and on the run. The investigation continues while prosecutors and police refuse to reveal details of further investigation, citing interests of the investigation. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments about what you think of all this unfolding chaos. Your engagement helps this channel reach more people who need to hear the truth.
Here's what's really interesting about Germany right now. In today's latest poll results, the right-wing AfD party, known to everyone as Alternative for Germany, has once again become the leader, gaining 26% of votes. The CDU-CSU, Merz's union, is in second place with 25%. Although the gap remains small, Merz's union will now have to make maximum efforts to break ahead. Social Democrats got 13%, while the Greens hold their 12% support. Within the Christian Democratic Union, Merz's party and coalition, they are discussing possible significant tax increases, including inheritance tax for family business owners. Previously, heirs were exempted from tax if they continued managing the business and preserved jobs. Now part of Merz's union parliamentarians are ready to abolish this rule. But this proposal has already caused protests in the Young Entrepreneurs Association. Association representatives assert and declare that tax increases will become a funeral bell for family, small, and medium enterprises. In their opinion, companies will create reserves in advance, reduce investments and jobs, and this could seriously slow the country's economic recovery. You need to think before making such decisions. That's the warning that's been issued.
Now in France, the French Prime Minister defended the budget for next year, 2026, which provides for savings of 44 billion euros. And here's the most interesting part, what French Prime Minister Bayrou revealed and surprised everyone with. He declared, France is experiencing a dangerous paradox. It is simultaneously at the forefront and at the same time lagging behind. Our country is in danger because we are on the verge of excessive debt. That's quite an interesting, literally announced message from France's Prime Minister. We're first, but we're falling behind. And the words that France is in danger, that's already classic. You know about this. Opposition parties in France, including the right-wing National Rally and the left-wing party called France Unbowed, intend to express no confidence in the government in a parliamentary vote on February 8th. François Bayrou has just announced the end of his government. National Rally will never vote confidence in a government whose actions make the French people suffer. That's exactly what right-wing leader Jordan Bardella wrote on social media. So on February 8th, they'll be saying goodbye to François Bayrou's government. This is the reality we're witnessing today, these information moments that speak volumes. If this independent analysis is opening your eyes to what's really happening, consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support helps me continue bringing you unfiltered truth while mainstream media spins their narratives. The storm is far from over, and there's always more to share with you tomorrow.